Welcome to Your Music is Bad and You Should Feel Bad. This is Matt Lee, and this is going to be the second of 3 episodes with my friends Rod and Kelley, and Rich is also in this one as well. The third one will be next week. That will be our discussion of symphonic metal. But for now, we've got a couple more interesting studies we talk about, and then a whole bunch of weird tangents that happen constantly. So, you know, it's just one of those episodes. So,
I don't know if you saw the ice skating pictures. Oh no, because no one tagged me. I went ice skating with Steph, and because she's in town, so me and Danielle and Krista and some other people, and like some girl, I don't know where, she's from Boston. She took pictures and then she posted them, and like we're ice skating, and she posted like we rollin', they hatin', and I'm like, as much as I love Chameleon Air, we're actually like. There's no way that you could misinterpret the ice skating as rolling.
Yeah.
So, not really.
Skating versus rolling, very different.
Right, I mean, like, it's like mostly gliding.
if you're rolling, you're probably skating poorly. Well, that's the undesired results.
Well, this was the thing. So, like, I ice skated a bunch when I was a little kid, but I was never, like, good. Like, I couldn't play hockey. And then I went skating last winter with KT, and I like had completely forgotten how to skate. I was doing the embarrassing like step thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I haven't been since. And then we went, and I like remembered how to skate like half an hour into it. Like I was doing better than Chicago. And so I feel like, oh, I'm remembering how to skate. But then half an hour in, I was like, oh, now I really remember how to skate. And I was like doing it, and then I wanted to be like, everyone needs to be here to see me skating because I remembered and I can do it now. Also, my skates fit a lot better than they did in Chicago. I think
that might be one of the reasons why
that's
such trouble.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But anyway,
did you mount a triple axle?
Well, so this dude, this is a weird story. This guy that I went to UW with was computer science, and we actually, I don't know if he'll ever listen to this. So Barbie would refer to him as one of the smelly nerds. There's like a few dudes. It was basically like, so you have long hair, a trench coat, you don't shower, and your CD collection, because we all had like binders of CDs, right? Mm-hmm. It was every Metallica album, which at like, you know, up to the time was like Load or Reload or whatever, right? You made no distinction as to when to stop listening to Metallica. It was every Metallica album and every Weird Al album. Like there was like a checklist, and but that guy, so he's like weird, you know, computer nerd dude, right? Like he trained with, it was either Christy Yamaguchi or Michelle Kwan, I can't remember. But it was one of those deals where you're like, really? Like you trained figure skating with these girls? But I did not. I can't do any jumps.
Wow.
I didn't fall down though.
But you can go backwards, which is more...
Actually, I don't know. I didn't try.
But you did in the past. Like you said, you almost played hockey or something, right?
No, I was saying I couldn't have played hockey. But like I could skate, but it's not like I could like jump stop.
Yeah,
you know,
I have roller skating or ice skating. I have never learned how to go backwards. I
can't roller skate, but I can rollerblade. But that's like really easy.
That too.
Rollerblading's fun.
But anyway, so that was random.
Rollerblading was fun. Too bad we can't do it anymore.
We can't?
I don't know. It's I don't know.
I still have the same rollerblades since
I remember it being okay when I was like 12, and then a few years later I was like, I don't think I can do that anymore.
Well,
I remember the commercials, like when they were the new thing.
Right,
you know?
right. They were. I was like young
down the stairs.
enough where it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like what way you choose to roll around your neighborhood, and B, like they were new and cool, and like.
Now they're just dorky.
You gotta have rollerblades, not skates.
But I'm totally cool with being dorky.
Now skates is like
retro.
the hipster retro thing.
So.
Which I hate, because you can get one wheel on those things. It's like a shopping cart. When you get one bad wheel on a shopping cart, that can actually happen with skates. And so you got one foot kind of like wanting to go the other way, and you gotta like just steer a little bit harder. Is that just me?
I don't. Well, no, I've never really roller skated.
Once or twice.
I roller skated. Actually, my only bone break came roller skating down the hill. Oh yeah! You guys have never seen where I live. You just did. I live at the top of a 1,000 foot
that would be a
hill,
really bad.
And my friend Scott and I decided to basically roller skate down it.
Oh, damn.
And we didn't make it. I mean, we made it like 100 feet. And I went up on gravel and went down and just broke my wrist in 2 places.
Awesome.
It was my only broken bone.
Yeah, see,
Awesome.
I remember roller skating too, because roller rinks were also still a thing.
Yeah, I went to a roller rink every Saturday with my father when I was,
Oh.
Well, so this is the thing. Like, Eric is like very aggressive about how like unacceptable rollerblading is. That's like one of his things.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why is it unacceptable? I don't understand.
What's unacceptable about it? Is it like people doing it in the park and getting in his way? Or
he's just like
how uncool
like
it is?
yeah, how uncool it is, which is weird coming from Eric. No, but the
and I was
any
disappointed that I lost my rollerblades.
Well, no, and so right, but then we had but then he likes to talk about the roller rink jams, right? Because when that time we were at Prague Power and we were talking about, we were listening to Steely Dan and we were like gonna make like a roller rink metal jams.
Mega Mallcore.
Yeah, Mega Mallcore is the name we came up with, and then
Everything You Did came on.
right. I never knew you were a roller skater.
Yeah. So, which I was gonna say. So that's why I'm glad that like roller skates are retroactively cool now, because that gives me an opportunity to potentially use that at some point. Like, I never knew you.
No, and here's the so KT is actually a very enthusiastic roller skater, and she met John C. Reilly at a roller rink.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, so this is okay. So this is something super weird. Like, this is a totally bizarre and totally true story. So, John C. Reilly's not like a physically attractive man. Okay.
Poor guy.
But
Really great actor, though.
He is, and like she didn't just make this up in retrospect. This was written down. I read this before this happened because I knew her when this happened. John C. Reilly was one of her top 5 celebrity crushes, and then she met him at somebody's birthday, and so they were like some girl's birthday, and they're like, I want to go to the roller rink, and so she was like, I totally want to go to the roller rink because she like owns skates, she's roller skating, and she goes, and John C. Reilly was there roller skating.
Was he by himself?
Skating or blading?
No, he was skating.
He was skating,
but I don't know. There were no details relayed to me about like if he was with anyone. So it sounded like, or maybe there were, and I don't remember. But this was my impression, was that he was there by himself, like he just wanted to roller skate around the rink.
Oh, that's so cute. He was Mr. Cellophane in Chicago, so I could see him roller skating by himself. Mr. Cellophane.
I just know him as Dr.
Should have
Steve
been my name.
Rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
From Tim and Eric.
I tried that, and it was... Other than the intro where he just starts out, I just didn't get it. Like, I tried it. I really, honestly,
Their stuff's
tried
pretty absurd.
Well, and they're Eric Andre's production company.
Yeah.
So it's the same. It's the same.
The same
craziness.
editing style and everything too. Yeah.
Yeah, and just
was her appreciation of him as a crush ruined by this experience?
No, she was like, he was super nice and like talked to me like a normal person. You know,
was he kind of like the person who was like looking everywhere, but the person he's talking to?
I don't know.
Nervous?
Yeah.
Is he one of those people? Or
I also want to point out.
selfish,
Remember, he's also Dewey Cox, which is my favorite.
Oh
role
yeah.
is
I
that
totally forgot
Dewey
about
Cox.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Walk Hard.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw that.
It's.
I need to see
it's-
it. I know. Yeah.
People throw around. It's like a modern Spinal Tap way too much, but it's like a modern Spinal Tap.
Is that a Farrelly or Cohen or
I'm
Coen
not actually.
Brothers?
No,
I
it's
don't know
somebody
who
else.
did it.
It's not. It's not
one of
somebody
those.
who's like. I forget. Like, it's somebody who's done other stuff, but I think it's
Oh.
like a different.
I'm thinking of that story about Llewyn was it Inside Llewyn Davis, and that was like a Coen Brothers movie.
that
That's
was a
right.
Coen
Yeah,
Brothers.
yeah.
No, this is
a comedy.
Walk Hard
Yeah,
is-
I get it.
It's
Yeah,
a parody from right when there was a huge run of biopics. There was Walk the Line.
Yep. That was the main one.
And Ray. Those were the two main. Ray and Walk
I
the
saw
Line.
Ray. I actually
And then-
didn't see Walk the Line, but I saw Ray.
The extended cut expands. Like, there's more of like they didn't cover like the 70s. They
The extended cut of what? Of Walk the Line or Walk Hard?
Walk
Okay.
Hard. There's more parodies. There's like there's like a Brian Wilson section which is greatly extended.
Oh, okay. Now I gotta get this.
Yeah, I need 10,000 didgeridoos. It was so good. He just does a bunch of drugs, jumps up and down on a trampoline. It's amazing.
Okay.
And then
we're gonna watch that later.
I have the Blu-ray. Yes,
We should watch it and then record another podcast.
Because
since this one's a disaster.
but the what's the other one? There's in the 70s he has like a variety show. And Jane Lynch, I think, is like interviewing him about it or something.
Awesome.
It's whole. They extend all this. He marries Cheryl Tiegs, and like there's this whole like marriage / career move that like got cut out of the theatrical. Basically, like if you're, I wouldn't a random person, I wouldn't force them to watch the extended because it's really long,
right?
But it's hilarious and it's totally worth it.
Okay, I totally want to watch this now. And then the other thing you did was Talladega Nights, right? Like that's the other thing everybody
so
knows.
And Step Brothers too.
That's
Step
what I was.
Brothers.
I didn't see it.
I was actually going to say, like my
he was good in Talladega Nights.
experience-
That was funny.
He was great in that.
And
Yeah.
bake.
I've never seen him in a starring role.
The Magic Man. Come on.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen him play second banana to Will Ferrell. That's Step Brothers, Talladega Nights.
Walk Hard.
Yeah.
Walk Hard. The Dewey Cox story, which originally was titled American Cox, but they had to change it. Another thing that got cut out. I'm not even sure if it's
That reminds me of the Scotty Riggs thing.
It might even just be a deleted scene. It might not even be the extended one. But there's like at one point he made a commercial for Cox sausages.
Nice.
And that was like completely cut out of the theatrical. But it was in like the trailer or something. And I was like, why wasn't that in the movie? Is the obvious joke of the entire movie.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry, I totally derailed this thing.
back
to-
So the deal is, I was doing stuff in the neighborhood, so I'm like an hour late or something. So now,
So we were
now I'm
talking.
here.
Yes, we
but
were
yeah.
talking about mosh pits somehow in
Well,
relation
here's
to
this-
metal classical
I heard
studies.
that we wanted to talk about the study. Rod has some study about personalities.
So
of
I actually need to
people.
correct just one little thing because it's always helpful to read the actual study instead of just talking out of my ass. So I had said it was self-esteem.
We haven't read it, so you could be making it up.
No.
Okay.
So I had mentioned self-esteem as a similarity between
I was
heavy
wondering
metal
about
and
that. I was actually
classical,
gonna
and
ask
that's
you, 'cause I
actually
didn't
one
see
of
that.
the dimensions where they actually differ on that. Metal fans have low self-esteem, classical high self-esteem.
Right.
Really?
But they are equal on creativity, ease with themselves, and introversion.
Right,
Those
and
are the
they
three.
both know.
I wonder if that self-esteem for classical is actually just like self-importance. Like,
Well,
Right.
because here's what my theory on that would be.
Yeah.
Would be that because usually people who are into classical music like grew up playing it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's probably, especially if you're younger, right? If you, because I mean, I think a lot of kids are just like, like whatever, like everything's stupid, like whatever. But if you have the ability to play something, you're probably like, well, I can do something. And like a lot of people are just people, like whatever, who cares?
What
High
I
school's
read,
dumb.
that at least metal listeners and classical listeners both really know what they're listening to, when, what album came out when. So just like someone who's in
that's
classical, they
definitely
know
very
what
devoted.
era Chopin was in. They know,
right.
you know.
I definitely have seen that. And it's interesting because I noticed it. But the interesting difference, I think, is, although that's not true, because there are like just classical fans too. Because I was going to say that I bet in the metal equivalent, there's more people who like appreciate it in the same way, but without any of the actual underlying music knowledge. So instead of being like, oh, here's, the G major adagio, it's more like, here's the really fast shreddy part.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, with the self-esteem too thing, I offer my researcher's caveat that it's not necessarily that being a fan of heavy metal makes you low self-esteem. It may be, actually, and this makes more sense to me, that having low self-esteem may draw you to
Metal in the first place.
music in the
Right.
first place, right?
So okay, I have two comments and one I probably shouldn't make. So I'll make the one that's okay while I think about making the other one.
I can always edit it out too.
Oh, okay. He's like, wink, wink. Let's sabotage.
it
He said that to me too.
Just
So.
sabotage Rich.
Let's lay it down and see how it plays, and then we'll decide.
Well, and this is actually a better venue than normal to make it in. You'll hear why in a minute. So the first thing is like when I was like 11 and listening to Queensryche, I had this moment where I was like, if I continue to listen to this stuff, like I'm going to be uncool. Like that was a conscious decision that I made.
That's very interesting.
And so
I never consciously made that.
I knew that was the case.
Happened.
But so I would think that like you would have to either. My decision to do that, I would say, was based out of having a lot of self-esteem, being like, well, whatever, screw everybody else, like, it doesn't matter. But I feel at the same time, if you felt like you were a reject, then you're gonna go do your other thing, and it doesn't matter.
People who have niche interests generally are just going to be outside the box thinkers, and normally metal people in general are outside the norm.
Definitely.
So you're already outside the norm already, and then you find out, like, I didn't know it was not cool when I started listening to metal. I was like, okay, I like this shit. I'm going to listen to it. And then next thing I know, I'm talking to people about, have you heard this? Have you heard this? And they're looking at me like, no. What are you talking about?
I
guess this isn't cool.
I'm like half and half on this. But
I didn't care anyways.
Right. It took me a little bit to it was about the same, where at some point I started to realize because people were very vocal about it. Like I didn't have any like bump in my feedback loop. It was like, oh, I went to a school with uniforms, so like
me too.
Day to day, you weren't necessarily expressing your interests, but when there was a day where you could wear whatever you want, I'd be showing the Queensryche T-shirt, and people would be like,
"No uniform
is
day.
that some Nazi shit?"
Right,
and I'd be like,
damn
it. Like, and then, but here's but I also it was also this is a totally. I won't go on to that tangent, but right. So at some point I wasn't right. I wasn't going to stop. I was like, well, but here's
Can't
the thing.
stop, won't stop, never will.
Can't stop, exactly. And that is the Pitbull philosophy. Dale.
He's Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. But the interesting thing about that is I think that like what you're describing, Rich, is like the exception that proves the rule, because I think the average metal listener is not aware of it. They're just like, this is where I belong.
Right.
With the metal people.
Which is why...
And that's the guy at that show giving us the metal horns.
Yeah, who wants it back.
Well, then there's another study that came out saying that, the 80s kids for metal, the metal 80s kids are all right. Like, we're doing all right.
Right.
Technically. Like, we're not homeless and like,
We also talked about this before. There's also that...
mentally deranged in a mental house,
like the relevance
we're fine.
of chronology
Generally
in the sense that, like it also is when we both got into metal at like the worst time to get into metal.
When it was
in history so
it was
far.
more dead than
same here.
I'm older than all of you, so I got into it during the heyday of the hair metal and thrash era. With Rich, the thing about your personal story, you're also. I'd like to know what came first for you, whether it was classical or metal.
Oh, it was metal because this is weird actually. The deal is, so when I was 7, this is 1988. That's when Wolfgang Rehm wrote his 8th String Quartet, which is like my favorite piece of chamber music. But I actually, at that point, had decided to not listen to music because my internal sound image was atonal from the time that I was 6 years old. And my sister, I was just around my sisters, and they listened to like top 40, and I was like, music is terrible. I need to not listen to music. And so I decided to like not listen to music. And now in Catholic school, like they had played us like Bach and Beethoven, but that's not really where, I mean, I know these pieces and I respect them, but if someone is like, what's super important to you, I'm always like Rite of Spring. Like it's not Bach and Beethoven. It's
you
like,
mentioned that.
Right. So the thing is, so what ended up happening was I heard Queensryche when I was 9 because they were on MTV, and my brother listened to it. So it was situational because my family doesn't listen to classical music like from any era. They don't listen to So there I just wasn't exposed to it. It wasn't really till I was like 18 and I went to college and met like a lot of people who like were classical musicians. And I was very obviously into music, and I would want to talk to them about like technique and stuff, and they would have me listen to things, and then that's when I realized that there was hundreds of years of amazing music that I hadn't heard and I needed to listen to. Yeah. So sorry if that was long-winded, but it's just weird.
Well, it's because I wanted some context to this idea that you expressed about.
Being uncool.
Yeah, being uncool.
Yeah. Classical music wasn't cool.
You're kind of outside
either.
the norm if you came to metal by way of classical or started as classical and then metal. But it sounds like you pretty much had as a kid anyway, you had a pretty standard like intro to metal for the most part. I hate pop music, but man, Queensryche is fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, and it was like one of the first. That was the other thing was like, so even when I wasn't listening to music, I was still playing. So like I played piano and then I played guitar, and I remember sitting there thinking like, why is everything in 4? Like, this is really weird.
4/4.
Like, it's like, right, yeah. It's like, why
everything's 4/4.
It was like, why is everything in groups of 4?
Why not
so
4/12?
Right. Well, I started grouping things in like 5.
Yeah.
Like just to like do it because it
7/4.
It felt weird. And so then that was the thing. Like when you start listening to like prog metal, it's like, oh, like these guys like did that. Okay, you can do that. Like it works. Yeah, it was really kind of just a weird back formation. I don't even know. I just like to say back formation. It's kind of my thing.
Mine was kind of backwards. I started out in the classical area. Opera. I started opera singing when I was I was 8 years old when I started singing with a private instructor, and my family was all classically oriented. We had, clarinets, oboe. My sister played flute and clarinet, so someone was.
Wait, who played
always,
the oboe? I have a question.
My
about
sister
this.
did briefly.
Whose decision was it to play the oboe?
It was my sister.
It was your sister's decision.
My sister's decision.
Were your parents like, you have to pick an instrument?
No.
Or she just totally of her own volition?
Every one of us just basically were just like, yeah, I like instruments, and everyone did something band related. So we just ended up picking up. I wanted to play the French horn because I'm a dork, and they didn't have a French horn when I started playing an instrument, and so. They were like, you can play the trumpet, and I was like, I hate the trumpet, so I'm going to play the flute for a year, and then I'll play the French horn. Really weird transition, but at the same time I was singing and did a lot of performing arts and and whatnot. And during all that, I found Nightwish. Once I was I was doing competitions, National Association Teachers of Singing, placed a couple times. And I did all that, and it was fun. They're really, really critical. And it's kind of cutthroat. But, once I got into the metal arena, I was like, wait, people are actually like using operatic vocals in this hard music that I like, because I like rock. Okay, well, let's keep going then. And then they introduced some of the harsh vocals, and it's just a gateway. And then I heard Divine Wings of Tragedy by Symphony X, and it was just like, one thing after another. And here you are, you're already, encompassed in all this metal music that you just never thought you'd be a part of when you were singing operatic arias that were like 8 pages long. And
so classical music
really
is
weird.
A gateway to metal.
That's why
Worshiping the devil.
Yes. Exactly.
But
backwards.
Even though most classical music is about God.
Or was paid for by the church.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
I mean, St. Sansa has pieces about the devil.
Right. I mean, again, like literal classical, not classical.
Well, and also
in the bigger
my favorite piece, Rite of Spring. It's about a pagan ritual.
Yeah.
That ends in a virgin sacrifice.
Hashtag Stravinsky.
Hashtag no refunds.
So I didn't want to derail your story, but it reminded me of something that
works.
So I don't remember our last conversation about Mozart in the Jungle, but
it was just that you were like, oh yeah, I watched it, and I was like, oh, I heard a lot of horrible things, but I haven't seen it.
So
I haven't seen any of it
because I put a few things together, and I was trying to, because I watched the rest of it, and don't watch this show.
Okay, I wasn't planning on it.
It combines two things you hate. It's like made for you to hate it. And here's why. Okay. One, the main character is an oboist.
Nice.
2,
that's why I had to ask. I hate the oboe, and I've never met anyone who, of their own volition, chose to play the oboe. I always assert that people's parents, like, I go, who plays the oboe? Someone whose parents are like, you're going to play the oboe, and you spend a lot of time making reeds, and when you do it well, it sounds like shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So. But I
agree.
It gets better.
That's why she stopped. But.
So, right.
I scored a symphony without oboes.
It's about an oboist, and so there's a lot of her playing the oboe. But also, the basic premise is that she tries to get into the New York Philharmonic, and she doesn't make it. But she gets hired by the new conductor as an assistant to sort of like mentor her, and hopefully she'll make her way in the next year or whatever.
The next time someone dies.
And here's the other reason is the conductor is based on Gustavo
Dudamel.
Dudamel. Yes.
Yeah,
and the first
my
thing,
favorite
right?
conductor.
And I couldn't remember. I was listening to I was listening to the
episode we did.
Yeah. And editing, and it reminded me, because I was trying to put the together. I was like, I remember you saying this, and I was watching the show, and the thing was, right at the beginning, he cut his hair, and that was the whole thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, you cut your hair?" He's like, "Yeah," because everyone was obsessed with my hair.
My hair, right?
So. And what happened is, as I was watching the show, things you were saying about him started to connect to me with like the realistic interpretation of his character. Like, there's the way the show's presenting him, and then I'm like, yeah, but in real life, I would say that guy's full of shit, because his whole thing is like, and again, no refunds, but not too much disrespect towards sort of intuitive musicians, but there was a whole lot of this character being like, I am so passionate, and it's also, he's played by Gael Garcia Bernal, who is a great actor, and I think I like the character in the show because of him. I'm like, this guy's great, but I can see why the real guy wouldn't be. Because the guy's like crazy on the show. The whole thing is like, he can't make up his mind about what the program should be, and he's all, again, it's one of those things, he's charming because he's crazy, but the crazy, like, and it's one of these things where like, oh, well, we should just overlook his massive personality disorders because I guess he's good at music.
That's Toscanini. So I don't know anything about Dudamel personally, or like his ability as an arts administrator or anything like that. I just think he's a bad conductor, and I think he I think he got a lot of press for things that he did relating to music that weren't his performance quality, and then his gimmick of his hair let him ride that wave all the way to being music director at the LA Phil, which I don't think he deserved. But but as far as like dealing with a brilliant conductor who's a horrible person, that's Toscanini. Like that they probably ripped those stories from that.
He's not necessarily a horrible person. It's just that he's there. A lot of the stuff where it's the sort of romanticizing of.
Oh, no. This is what I talk about all the time, about when I tell people that conservatory is one of the most like unhealthy environments. Yeah. Is because there's this idea that like, if you have mental or emotional problems, don't attempt to treat them or alter them in any way, because you're a musician, and that's how we are. We're crazy.
Right. Whoa, that's what conservatories,
fuel, right?
Yeah,
really? Because that's
awful.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Because
really.
I pretty much all just heard how everyone was basically cutthroat and so demeaning once you got into conservatory music schools, that basically telling you to just stop. Just stop. You like Simon Cowell, just like, that was horrible. Just stop. Just go home.
I was told that I was ruining music, but it was.
So there we go.
But that was. So first of all, that's the biggest.
Like Shorter has
that's the biggest compliment I ever got. But no one ever told me I was a bad player. But I went around telling everyone that I was the best in the world, and no one was willing to refute that.
Well, see, okay, so that the show though reflects. See, I think there's certain things in the show that are probably. They probably capture accurately, although again it's also the main character is based on the person who wrote the book it's based on, so it's also written by an oboist, so it's like, but again, I'm also sure that they massively changed things for the TV series. Like, it's clearly shuffled up, and let's make it work as a show.
Shuffle it up.
And
you just hear nothing about how they crush your dreams.
But here's okay. So
that's more about soloists.
So
anyway.
let me do the overview. Here's the deal with the show. I honestly, it's not a bad TV show, right?
It sounds like it is.
Well, okay, it's horribly inaccurate, and it's probably wrong in a lot of ways, but like, it's the acting, directing, the writing of the show. I see what you're saying.
The production.
Right. If you just want to watch a TV show,
but it's the same deal with like you listen to Bieber or whatever. The production is amazing. But it just is terrible music.
The writing, right. But I'm saying the writing and acting and everything. It's not an unpleasant show to watch.
Okay.
But you have to be aware that it is wrong and potentially misleading.
Oh, okay.
But here's the part I wanted to talk about this on my favorite part of this show, which is also its greatest flaw, in my opinion, is there's this character of the conductor who's in the show, he's Rodrigo. and he just goes by Rodrigo. So
Rodrigo.
right? Oh, here's the other thing. So he cuts his hair, but he leaves like this little like 2 or 3 like rat tail braids
Ew.
that are like a foot long. So
Gross.
in one scene when he's wearing like a weird like robe and hood, he looks like a Jedi. Like from the
Okay.
prequels, right? He looks like McGregor.
Okay.
Like Qui-Gon. Yeah,
Right, like Qui-Gon and
Obi-Wan.
Famous.
yeah, young Obi-Wan.
Hayden
So right, so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, are you a Padawan now? What the fuck is Anyway, so that was stupid, and every time I saw that, I was momentarily angry because it just was the dumbest looking thing hanging off
Pretty
the
sure
back of
you're
his head.
permanently angry, Matt.
No, but I like the actor, and so I enjoyed his performance in spite of how much I'm like, this guy's an idiot. But anyway. But the interesting part is his wife. His wife is supposed to be this super amazing violinist who is also crazy. Now, here's the thing, though. Her character makes some of the best points in the series in that whenever they like encounter each other, she's like, all you do is play museum pieces with these like boring old corporate wage slave musicians, and it's dead music and it's off. And I'm like, let's hear more about this. And then but they showed like 2 or 3 of her performances, and it is like, this is art nonsense.
Yeah.
It is so bad. That's the problem. So my issue is that
but a lot of people have that opinion.
Right.
They don't understand that there's this middle ground.
Right. They think the only alternative
they think things are either Beethoven or John Cage.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
There's no gray area for
Right,
a lot of people.
Right, because they haven't heard it, because it doesn't get played. It's not on the radio.
So,
like, I'm the only person I know.
So it
who
must
listens
not
to
matter if it's not on the
Dreams, so,
radio.
like,
factoring in that it's a TV show, so they're only going to show like 30 seconds of fake music anyway.
Yeah.
But even so, the first performance you see of her, she comes out and plays some crazy like,
cat scratch fever.
horrible bone noises
behind the bridge,
Yeah.
and like
right
upside down,
and a
like,
little bit of like vaguely atonal sounding stuff, but not long enough to even establish that, right?
Right.
It's mostly just
There's no
and then
thematic
she
development.
smashes her violin like
Yeah.
immediately. So they hand her another one because that's what you do in a performance.
Of course,
right?
you just have one just sitting there waiting
But
for
the
you.
second performance, which is in the middle of nowhere and like they YouTubed it or some shit, just like a small crowd in like the woods or something. She takes out.
That's where the acoustics are great.
Right. Oh wait, it gets better. So this is my favorite because I was just like, what the fuck? So she pulls out. The scene starts with her pulling out 2 enormous like revolvers, and then she points them at this. There's like big like blown up staff piece of paper, and she just like shoots them at it. And then it took me a minute to figure out. I assume
Did they visit my website?
But so my thought, what she did, I think she shoots it and then plays the notes that she shot, and I'm like, oh, good. I mean, basically, you have 12 tones, but they probably aren't all unique notes, and whatever. It's a stupid idea. But the best part is that she plays just that one like run of like 10 12 notes,
and that's it.
No.
Oh.
She plays it. Then you hear sirens because the cops are coming because it's illegal. Because it's illegal. And then she shouts in French because she's French, of course. She shouts like
That's how you hammer home otherness to an American audience. Right. You make someone French.
and that's right.
No, I'm serious.
Because why she
it's
can
classical
call
music,
them,
so they couldn't make her like Pakistani.
right, and she can call them bourgeois pigs and whatever, and it sounds better. But so then she plays her like 10-note piece. You hear sirens. She yells "fuck the system," and her boob pops out. Also, she's like super hot, but
Okay.
Right, which
But-
never happens.
right. Well, and again, just like it just was too much. Like the whole image they were going for. I was like, I know what you're doing, but like, have you met one?
Yeah. No, there's
Really? Like-
I only know one like a gorgeous soloist, but she plays museum pieces.
Yeah.
Because guess what?
Yeah.
If you're really hot and you're really good, you can totally make tons of money.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's the best part. So I'm gonna. Does anyone care if I spoil this?
Spoiler.
No.
Spoil it and go ahead.
Okay. I
You
didn't
can't
so.
really spoil what's already rotten.
Right, exactly. So basically, the way that the season wraps up is he gets her. He decides at the last minute that he needs to the right thing is her playing Rachmaninoff. Her playing a Sibelius concerto.
Yeah, because that's considered like the hard one of the old guard. Yeah,
right. Oh, Sibelius. I was like, okay, whatever. So,
well, it's actually a result of Sibelius was a failed violinist. Okay, like he really wasn't good.
Yeah,
and so then that was kind of his thing. He's like, well, I can't play all good,
so
I'll write a really good playing one, and then people will do that.
So she's supposed to be this amazing soloist to play this, and he gets her to do it. And then, like, you know, a little bit in, she's like, I cannot do this. You're bourgeois pigs. You're playing museum pieces. And they have this big fight on stage. And she walks off.
Happen.
Right. Because in order to be so passionate, she must be so mentally unstable she can't do a job.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet she would still take the job and then just like, no, I need to work. And not to say there aren't people who would do that.
Right.
Those are severe mental issues.
No one would do that. Because, again, it's so corporatized. Like, you would never take that risk on someone.
I'm not saying... they would never get hired to do
There's
it.
There's no Scott Stapps in classical music.
I'm not saying. I'm saying that there are people who would do something like that if they got the opportunity, but that they wouldn't get to because of the way it's actually organized.
Right, the system is set up to prevent that from happening.
Right. And so
that rehearsal costs a ton of money.
Right, and here's. And they appeared to only rehearse once with her too. So, which she also walked out on. And so here's what happens, and this is like okay, and I was like, so. You're a failure, and he didn't get fired? Because, like, what happens is, since she walks off, and he basically just has the first chair violin play the solo.
Yeah, that's probably what they would do.
And then he sits in for the chair violin, and then the old conductor, this is the whole tension of the thing, is that he's, you know, pushing out this old conductor played by Malcolm McDowell, and he calls him up to conduct it, and everything's fine. I'm like... You just had somebody else do your job and everything's fine? Like,
no, well, that would never happen. Like, the first violinist, right, the concertmaster would play the solo, but then he would just conduct.
Right.
Like,
it was ridiculous. But, and then on top of that, I mean, and this is only like my personal thematic issues. There's like a mountain of inaccuracies you can look up online. That's why I'm not even bothering with like most of all being like, if you watch it and you're a musician, don't ever watch anybody's hands, because it's some of the worst fake playing, and like you just didn't edit around it well. Like that first chair soloist at one point, they show him when he's supposed to be playing, and the music sounds great, and I'm like, that is nowhere near what the fuck he's doing. Yeah. He's not even faking it well. Like I know, you know, people know what fake violin playing looks like. You just go do a lot of the vibrato. It was so bad. Like
you play way up high on the tiny strings.
Yeah. So it was pretty bad, but
I'll be sure to keep not watching.
Right. But I thought I was so amused by her character. Like it's like, this is the only alternative, right? Is batshit craziness.
Yeah,
and I know it seems sexy to play crazy music, but
in the woods.
But no, you got to stick to Mozart in the jungle.
Oh, it's so clever.
No, it's not.
Losing Your Shit seems to be more like a mainstream pop music type of
because in classical music,
because
professional.
Right. Not only are they professionals, because you've worked so long to get there. Like, no, it's very hard to be in it that long and not want it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, you're fungible. Mm-hmm. Musicians in classical music are fungible, whereas in popular music, like, you're there to see the performer. It's the same reason why, like, if you're in a cover band, you make like $20.
Yeah, right.
Whereas whoever the real deal is making millions of dollars.
That's why Bieber can run off stage and throw a fit.
Right, because they'll still book him the next night because people are showing up to see him, not whatever music. You can't just replace him. Like,
but of course, the music is largely the same.
Right.
Even
that's what I'm saying. It's not the product. Because there's the music is just there.
It's replaceable.
It's just there, and it's the personality is
Like so the last I saw I think it was the Video Music Awards or something where Justin Bieber played his new song for the first time, and I was just like, this is so bad, and he is so not contributing to it in any way. And then the next day I look online and the response, people are like, see, it doesn't even bother me. It's one thing if you thought it was good, but it's another thing that people are even like considering it a thing where they have discussion like, let's break down what Justin's doing here. Yeah. Justin's not doing shit.
He's
showing up.
Showing up, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm like the first issue in most
80% of success is showing up.
90% business, 10% talent. And sometimes usually not even that. But, my first problem with most articles I've tried to read about pop music is that they immediately give too much credit and consider things like worthy of discussion where it's not relevant.
Yeah. It's pretty sad.
Yeah. But anyway, so any other details out of that were particularly interesting?
Other than the self-esteem thing?
Yeah.
I could talk about the other fan profiles besides metal and classical.
Yeah,
because some of them are kind of interesting.
Yeah, please do that.
Blues fans, high self-esteem. That's a winner right there.
Is it high income?
Really? Yeah. No.
Oh,
it doesn't have income on here.
Blues
creative.
Blues lawyers. That's what we need. We need data. Lawyers. We need data to back up our social hypotheses about blues lawyers. Yeah. I have patches.
I mean, some of this. Sam Ash probably has the data. Or at least some.
Well, and he was applied for the card, right?
Yeah. I bet a lot of blues. I bet those are the guys who actually get the card because they're like, another credit card? Sure, why not?
10% or whatever.
So what else?
So yeah, they're also creative, outgoing, gentle, and at ease. Jazz fans, high self-esteem, creative, outgoing, and at ease.
Outgoing.
See, I almost always hear high self-esteem as perceived high self-esteem, because in a lot of cases it's like perceived high self-esteem is really just sort of like latent narcissism, where it's like you project self-esteem, but underneath it you're compensating massively.
So this is part of when I prefaced talking about the study, and I said the actual study is probably behind a paywall, and I wasn't able to look at what they did.
See the methods.
It could be a self-report, like they asked the series of questions where then you score it and you say this person has high self-esteem. I'm willing to bet that's more likely than it being a perception issue. Yeah. Rap fans, high self-esteem.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
And outgoing.
Yeah. Yo, you like hip-hop?
Really well.
You like it? Oh, they're very outgoing.
Check out my mixtape.
Right, because they're all trying to...
I'll try to get you to listen to them.
Yo, check out my mixtape.
Opera, high self-esteem, creative and gentle. Country and Western. Okay, so the country and Western thing, we were talking a little while ago about metal, and you've all seen Heavy Metal Parking Lot,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Right.
I was telling someone to watch it the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So you've seen it?
I'm not sure.
I don't think I've seen it.
All right, it's a video from they went to a Judas Priest and is it Dokken or Def Leppard?
I can't remember who the
It's
opening
one of the
act
two
was,
hair bands. It was on tour like 1986.
Yeah, it was in Maryland.
They take a camera to this concert where everyone's tailgating, and they tell them they're from like MTV, and then they interview these people.
Nice.
It's like 20 minutes, and it's hilarious because basically so everyone has like a horrible mullet and like a horrible figure, and they're just drinking like Bush or whatever, and like probably doing lines. And
acting like complete douches.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I mean, seriously.
And then there's this dude who's like, what is he, like 24 or something? And his girlfriend's 13, and like they're making out. It's like it's so bad. It's so bad, dude.
So when we were talking about how classical and metal fans kind of overlap on a lot of different dimensions.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, they may not have sampled the bulk of the metal fans,
but especially,
because some of them end up like that.
Well, no, but if it's a self-report thing, like you're saying, like a lot of times you got to think, to whom do those things where they're like get paid to participate in this research study usually reaches people who are near college campuses. Right?
Yeah.
Like
that's what I'm saying. It's not a random sample of metal fans.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
It's So they ended up with the more intelligent
metal
fans.
Metal fans who can go to college.
I think, and there's also a lot of, stereotype. You see a long-haired guy, he's kind of like acting, he's
wearing leather,
or he's got the patch vest and all that stuff.
He's got white.
You find out
high
later.
tops.
You find out later this guy is, he's got a great job. He's, a computer programmer
And
or
a lot of cats for some reason.
Maybe.
According to that book.
But you
According
look
to
at
the
him,
internet, apparently,
you look at
there's
him,
a
they
lot
look
of-
unassuming, and then you start talking to him, and you're like, oh, you don't sound like the douche you look, So there is
sometimes
that
they
too,
do.
Yeah.
So it's both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So the reason I bring up Heavy Metal Parking Lot is because they do. I saw the one with the follow up where they went back and they found some of these people.
I've been meaning to watch this, but I haven't.
And one of them, this is why I led in with the country and western thing. One of them had become, 10 years later, become a huge fan of country music.
Oh God!
Not all of them turned into progressive metal fans.
But like outlaw country or like
I don't remember.
Lady Antebellum,
That's
because
much.
there's a big difference.
No. I mean, this was 20 years ago,
Oh,
so
okay.
it predates
Sure,
Lady
sure.
Antebellum.
Okay,
It's
great.
like typical
that's-
old country and western.
Right, because I got no problem with Wynn Stewart, but like I definitely have a problem with like Pantera. There's always
reggae, high self-esteem. Pretty much all of them except metal have high self-esteem.
It must have been, do you consider yourself to have high self-esteem? Like on a...
Creative, not hardworking reggae fans. That's because they're all doing doobies, right? Yeah. Outgoing, gentle, and at ease. Dance.
Well,
I wonder why they're so at ease.
Yeah.
I'm confused. You keep saying gentle. What's
I know.
The,
What
what's
does
the
that
alternative?
mean?
What's the other
yeah.
superlative? Aggressive, or is it like
That's what I
It
think
just
is
says
implied.
it just says not gentle.
Not gentle.
So again,
Not
no
gentle.
access to the study. I can't
Okay.
really see what they
Wait, so
use.
what did it say for metal? Did it say not gentle?
Metal. So metal fans were grouped with rock fans. And it said low self-esteem, creative, not hardworking, not outgoing, gentle, and at ease.
It said
so
gentle.
they were gentle. Yeah.
They must have gotten all the ones that own cats. This
Not
was totally,
hardworking?
This was totally near college campus.
Not hardworking.
This is totally
Yeah.
near.
Not
This is
hardworking.
like
Wow.
metal dudes from college.
Yeah.
This is not like
Exactly.
metal dudes that like pump gas.
Right. Exactly.
Indie fans. This is one of my favorites.
Oh, dear.
Low self-esteem, creative, not hardworking, and not gentle. Indie fans.
Yeah.
Not gentle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Well, because arsonists
And-
get all the girls.
Now, does indie? Punk was such a small time frame. Does that come into play anywhere?
Did I read?
Well,
No,
the other
punk's
thing
not
is
indie.
peop-
Indie is
well, the
Not
other thing
indie.
is
No, I know.
punk.
I'm asking about
People-
punk though.
There's
It's a
no
specific
punk.
genre.
Well,
There's
but
no
that's
punk.
weird.
No punk.
They may
Well, but the other
Yeah.
thing is that's a really
If they're-
loaded term too, because you're
Yeah.
talking about Sex Pistols or you're talking about Green Day.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's like
What-
punk is
So,
There's like-
so my guess is that he didn't classify the people themselves. They were asked to self-classify. So the punk fans may have ended up in the rock
Yeah.
/ indie groups.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's no punk profile
It's
here.
like
There
when I
may
have
be
to
one.
check a thing and says Latino or white.
Right. Bollywood, which I didn't even know was a musical genre. I thought that
is.
was just a movie genre.
Weird. Yeah, I thought it was just
Bollywood,
movies.
creative and outgoing.
But the thing is, if you watch any of their films, they're basically like
Yeah, they're doing
musicals.
the yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
okay.
the thing, like
Right. Okay.
because you
That makes
can't
sense.
kiss, you break into song.
I know of Bollywood, but I've never actually watched a Bollywood.
They're
musical.
insufferable. But here's the thing: if you
Yeah.
go on YouTube, and you just type like full length movie, there's like a ton on there. Like you'll get a ton of like.
I
Bollywood
can
films.
find
Wow.
better things to do with 2
Yeah.
hours of my time
Yeah,
than watch a
I
Bollywood
Don't want to
movie.
waste my life.
Chart pop fans, high self-esteem, hardworking, outgoing and gentle, but are not creative and not at ease. The at ease thing, I don't really get that dimension
the
either.
Eddie's thing might be that sort of thing where you're like, oh, I'm stressed out about my life because like I got this job that I don't like, but I got a wife and kids. Like, kind of maybe that's sort
I
of
don't
what
know.
they're talking about. Like,
yeah, maybe.
like satisfaction with your situation. Sort of.
I wonder
deal.
what they
don't know.
classify as hardworking.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
question.
I know some pretty hardworking metalheads. Like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of them actually, and I think there's more nowadays than ever before because of the power progressive genre. There are so many people who are like,
Yeah.
I just feel like there's
Programmers.
no correlation between what you listen to and how hard you work. Like that just seems totally arbitrary.
I
to
was
me.
wondering how
it
that's
probably
causal.
was, like you said, like self-qualifying. Like, 'cause
Right.
if this was like a survey, like I'm thinking of like I took a few psych surveys in college because I took a couple psychology classes, and you get extra credit
for going and taking them.
If you take a quiz, but the intent of the study was always fairly obscured, right? It always felt like a random assortment of questions,
right?
A few of which just I was like,
where's this coming from?
No, there was one. Let me see if I can remember it because it's stuck in my head as one of these like, I don't know what the hell this question's about, but it's weird, and I can't tell if you're crazy or if you're trying to test if I'm crazy.
Right, and then you psych yourself out.
It was like a true or false, and it was, I sometimes walk with a limp that is the result of a skydiving accident.
What?
And I was like,
wait,
are you trying to test
if you're paying attention?
If I'm paying attention, if I believe that I had a skydiving accident, but I didn't, or like, do I have a psychosomatic? There's so many like.
Do I have a psychosomatic limp? Right.
No, I feel like they probably put that in there because if people who are just filling out the survey,
right? It's probably
it's probably just to see if like
Yeah.
If you say yes, then it's probably like you're not paying attention, right? But I took it as like I was like, what the fuck are you guys trying to figure out?
Well, they have this thing called page effect that it turns out that if people will often just go down the center or the side of the page, and then when they go to the next page, they will choose a different answer, and so you end up with the values on the scores are correlated with where they appeared in the survey if it was multiple pages, or nowadays they do it on computer screens. So it's like, you get three questions on a screen or 5 questions on a screen, and they all might be on a scale of 1 to 5, 4. But then they go to the next one, and for reasons unrelated to what they were actually thinking, but just because they are on another screen and can't necessarily remember what they were given on the last one, they're now scoring 3s, right? So it does force them to actually. You can tell that they're basically not even paying attention.
Right,
that's basically what it is.
Yeah, nice.
So
that's probably what that was. So
this guy who did this study, he is. Let me just give a brief profile. He is he is the deputy head of the School of Life Sciences, an expert in the social and applied psychology of music at, I hope I don't mispronounce this, Heriot-Watt University, which is in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Yes.
Yeah, and he has done many studies like this, and he had one. I wanted to mention one really quick one that I thought was interesting, but I don't know. Oh, what it is? Yeah. He has a study about, just to give you a sense, he's just some quack doing this on the fly. He has a study about why they play Muzak in grocery stores. That if they play slower music, people linger longer and buy more stuff.
No, and which is why at some restaurants they play up-tempo stuff because then people eat faster and they get out of there and then they can put someone else in the table. Yeah.
So he has some pretty interesting stuff.
That's why there's a lot of smooth yacht rocket key foods. I hear more Hall & Oates at that grocery store.
And I'm like, hey, this is pretty smooth. No hurry. Let's just sail along on a sea of gentle grooves.
Well, Ian, you would think that more restaurants would play power metal, right? Up tempo.
You still have to be able to eat. Like if you sit down and the Dragon Force starts playing, you'd be like, I'm trying to eat here.
Well, didn't they just prove that power metal is nothing more than surf rock with distorted guitars or something? Or did somebody say that?
Actually, someone kind of proved that it was a YouTube thing.
I mean, they're both terrible. So
they go back and forth.
I mean, just a lot of tremolo picking, not a whole lot else, right?
Yeah.
Although I did see a really nice YouTube video on the comparison of metal to punk and it was just like, punk was just like,
well, but I mean, even James Hetfield was smart enough to articulate, like, we liked punk music, but we thought the playing was really shitty.
Iron Maiden started out as a proto-punk band, right? So
they started out that way. They realized it wasn't working, and so they upped the ante.
Well, I don't know. I see like a direct. I mean, the punk versus metal thing is silly because it's always been. Old. They've always been
so
connected.
Exactly.
So you can't like separate. Blah, blah, blah. But my issue with punk has always been that there seems the main divider I see is punk is always like, who cares? Just fucking hit the thing with a pick and just be angry. And then metal has always been like, wait.
Let's think about this.
I need more modes. I need more. I need more notes to play. I need to play all of the notes. And so you go too far in either direction, you have issues.
There's attitudes on both sides that have been there for so long that nowadays, if you're one of those people who's like, oh, punk is really the only music out there, and oh my god, metal, I couldn't possibly, you're probably not with the times right now, because a lot of people nowadays have mixed a lot of people have many different tastes when it comes to punk and metal, and they crisscross all the time.
My bigger issue with punk, I don't care for most of it musically, but then some of it I do, and I've there's been things, and
I only
obviously
listen
it's
to Turbo
interesting.
Negro. It's the only punk band I listen to.
But either way, my bigger issue is like the whole cultural idea of like when people are just like, yo, that's punk. Like there was this thing recently with some article, it was like LA is more punk than New York, and I was like, how about who cares? Like, okay, good.
Why?
Good,
Do we care?
because
No?
I think punk is dumb, and like what?
Yeah.
Like especially when people are like, what's really punk rock? Like, is it not saying things like what's really punk rock?
Right.
Like,
pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. I do not like punk, but
but it's it had its place, and it wasn't really going to go much of anywhere, but some metal originated, like we said. Iron Maiden came from the punk era, and that's pretty much it.
It's sort of Metallica and Slayer.
And Metallica and Slayer and stuff like that. So it has its place.
It's directly connected to
But if that's all you listen to, it's kind of like, maybe you want to branch out.
Right. The thing I don't understand is people who are like, punk is their thing.
Yeah. What?
And like so are you a punk then?
Yeah.
Like, does that make you a punk?
No, I've actually met people who are like, I'm punk. Yeah. And I'm like, really?
I'm like, I know. To be fair, there's also plenty of people who are so into being metal, you have the same issue.
Right. Yeah.
So I can't just say it's because
it's not
of
just
the
punk.
dumbasses.
I mean, the same thing with rap too.
That.
I'm so hip.
Yeah.
Really? What? I don't know. What do they say? Do they say they're hip? Do they say they're
I don't
cool?
know.
I don't know the lingo.
So,
this is the most I've talked about rap for a pretty long time. So.
Yeah, we can cut that out.
Yeah. So, all right.
I have nothing more.
Okay, cool.
But Kelly has a neuroscience article that she found.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because how there are a lot of people will say you listen to what music is going to influence your musical mood, influence your mood overall. A lot of musical therapy will concentrate on trying to alleviate depression and anxiety via music that makes you feel good. But there are a lot of studies that have gone into neurologically about basically how whether or not there is a link between your mental health and what you're listening to. Okay, so how you regulate your emotions. We all regulate our emotions via the medial prefrontal cortex. Okay, that's where if it's activated when we are trying to, just control our emotions and make sense of things, processing. But if it's not activated, some people with, mental illness, it's not quite as activated as others. And so they're a little bit what you would call dysregulation. They would have a lot of emotional dysregulation and such. And so this was a study conducted at the Center for Interdisciplinary Music Research at the University of, and wow, this is a very complicated name because this is Scandinavia here. So Jyväskylä, University of Jyväskylä, Aalto University in Finland, and Aarhus University in Denmark. So I'm sorry if I butchered that, but it was done to establish the link between your music listening habits and your mental health. So people who ruminate a lot, if you're a negative thinker, you're always brooding and thinking about things over and over, rumination is associated with negative emotion, right? So scientists wanted to find out if listening to the certain types of music that have similar neurological effects would have a long-term effect on a person's mental health. And what they found, so they ruled out, they profiled the study participants based on, they first assessed their mental health markers on depression and anxiety, neuroticism, how they usually listen to music to regulate their emotions and stuff. So they found out that people who usually listened to sad or aggressive music were more anxious or neurotic. Okay. So there was an association with okay, yeah, it kind of makes you process everything, but it doesn't necessarily make you feel good long term. But the big thing that came out of this study, because they actually they decided to investigate the brain's unconscious emotion regulation, so not conscious versus conscious. And they showed that the participants' neural activities, because they did this under a functional MRI, they showed that the medial prefrontal cortex was most active, so they're regulating their emotions. It was most active in females and less active in males, which is weird because there was a study that just came out, not long ago, just recently, that male-female brains, there aren't much difference. But males and females process things differently, so our brains organically aren't different, but the way we process things might be a little different. So females who listen to music to distract themselves from negative feelings showed increased activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, while males listening to the music with negative feelings had less activity in the medial prefrontal cortex. So when we were talking about how, there's that metal guy who's, out there and just, I'm metal and banging his chest and everywhere,
right.
He's not engaging his
medial regulating his emotions.
No, he's not. Exactly. And so, whereas, which actually, it showed a lot to me, whereas the eventual result of the study it was kind of mixed bag. It's like, it's not going to necessarily make you feel great, but it also might help you process things,
Right. Well, and ideally, if it's good music, it should be creating some kind of catharsis, right? Like that should be the purpose of that. But that also, that doesn't necessarily, right. So it doesn't necessarily mean that listening to it has an effect on those emotions. It could just be that's the natural, like you listen to that to help catharsize. What's the active verb form of catharsis?
To achieve catharsis.
Achieve catharsis. That is correct. I was going to say to like specifically, process and through certain emotions, and the catharsis helps you complete that processing.
And then you can move on with your life. And
until the next time you feel sad.
It's sort of like drinking. No, it is, because the whole time you're talking about this, I'm like, I want to make a malt liquor called Dysregulate now. Like,
yes.
Well, that answered a lot of questions though, because I was sitting here, I was like, every time I listen to something like Insomnium, Insomnium is fantastic. Or another example, I guess, would be Catatonia. I don't usually listen to them, but they're along the same lines. They've got some moody lyrics, but a lot of them will be following some sort of natural progression of grief or something like that, which it can be a catharsis, as we're talking about. So it answers some questions for me, because when I would, listen to this, I wouldn't be jumping for joy, but I don't really want to jump for joy all the time anyways. But it did help me focus and help me, just kind of get through whatever it is I'm going through. Things are going to be okay,
So can I ask, did they focus specifically on heavy metal listeners or on listeners of all? Okay, I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It was from a group of schools in Scandinavia.
I mean, there's that. So
they had a bigger pool.
I heard that.
They were able to have a sample size that was statistically significant.
They're not listening to Justin Bieber in Scandinavia as much, I guess, huh?
No, this was sent to me by a friend of mine who works in neuroscience, and he's a Finnish dude. So, and he'll send me stuff all the time. He's like, so it was from I'm not sure what types of metal, but
it's interesting.
So can I just throw, this might be opening up a can of worms, but is this kind of like scientific evidence supporting that women tend to listen to the lyrics, whereas men tend to like focus more on the music and the instrument?
I don't know if you can genderize that.
That's an anecdotal thing. I don't have, and I'm not trying to stereotype either, but it's just,
I don't know. I've met enough like people who seem, I don't know if I don't have a big enough sample set and still anecdotal, but I feel like I've met enough people who just are either way. I think it's an unrelated thing.
I don't think it's a gender
thing, but I think it's an unrelated thing. I think it might have to do actually with whether you have like a visual or auditory reference system, as whether you're more focused on verbal or.
I was always more focused on verbal, I thought, just because I was a vocalist, I was a soloist. So, and I had to memorize lyrics all the time. I had to memorize them in Italian, German, Latin, what have you. So that's just what I thought it was about.
Yeah,
but
I was more I was more the instruments. I played saxophone, bass guitar, and guitar. So I was never really a vocalist. So that's
So it may have something more to do with that.
I mean,
but yeah.
I don't know, because like a lot of jazz, right? There's no vocals. A
Right.
lot of classical music, there's no text, right? But I'm interested by your statement, right? Because I don't think of anything like in terms of the visual that's associated with it, right? But I do have synesthesia, which that is visual.
You really?
Yeah, it's timbre.
Ooh.
It's timbre to color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Amber to color. Wow.
Right. So clarinet is blue.
Oh
like
my-
that's the.
Do you see it floating, or
No,
do you
no,
see
no,
it like
no.
on the?
Well, so okay, so that's actually a super weird question. Or there's super
Sorry.
weird answer. There's super weird answer to that.
Okay.
So,
No, because synesthesia is so
so
weird.
do we all know what a clarinet looks like?
Yeah.
So forever, I literally like the bell was like blue in my mind. Like
Oh, okay.
In your mind or
yeah.
visually? So in your mind.
What do you mean? How's there a difference?
Well, I mean, are you literally seeing blue, or
No,
are
if
you?
I look at a clarinet, I see that it's black.
Okay.
like-
But when
like
you hear
blue.
when you hear
but
the
your
music,
mind-
you see blue. When you hear the clarinet music.
Yeah, but
So you sense
you
blue.
internally
but that's
register
what I'm
blue.
saying is right. Internally, it sounds blue, but for the longest time, when I would think about what a clarinet looks like the bell, it's like
Would
blue.
be
There's
blue.
like a blue band
Wow.
by then. But I don't know. That's like the weirdest one.
That is really weird.
It's like alto flute is also blue, but then like as you move up to flute, it becomes like silver white. If that makes sense.
Interesting.
So like high strings are green, but low strings are almost more like the color that you would think of a violin to be, actually.
Okay.
And then like a bassoon is like a brown to maroon. Okay.
Wow.
But a contrabassoon is more like orange.
Wow, that's very different. That's a
Okay.
big jump.
What about oboe?
Oboe is like a bright yellow. It's,
okay.
it's like a weird yellow orange. It's kind of like the color of like mustard,
Mustard.
but
I
not
was gonna
really.
say it's mustard.
So this is fascinating. So let me ask you
it's interesting
this.
'cause-
But it's totally
When I-
useless
let me
because
just-
I'm the only person in the world who has this.
Right.
No, but
I know one
when
other
you
person
listen
that has
to
it.
when you listen to a symphony,
Yeah.
and all these instruments are mixed together, like what do you?
It depends.
Is it just like a
See,
No, it depends. There's usually a dominating. Everything
Okay,
molds
right.
into
Okay.
a color. So like a really good example is the beginning of Radivara 7th Symphony is like mostly blue and purple. Like and then Devontown, like Accelerated Evolution, the
Right.
beginning of that, it's like mostly white. Like I don't know if
Interesting. I know one other person with synesthesia, but it's a
curious.
different
what's
type.
their
Theirs is like sounds to taste.
Okay. So mine, I
Yeah.
don't feel like mine is very strong because it's not overpowering. Like it's like I can avoid having that sense. But it's consistent. Like
So
if
is it
I listen-
annoying?
No, it's awesome.
You
Okay.
like it?
But-
I was like, I was
But
gonna say it doesn't
It's
sound annoying. but-
extremely helpful.
I was gonna say
yeah,
I'll-
see,
maybe
was-
this is the way your brain is compartmentalizing how you listen to music in
Probably.
a really odd.
But
organizational way.
the thing is, it's consistent. So if I listen to the same piece of music twice, the colors
Wow.
are the same every
Awesome.
time. And
That's very
Did it
cool.
help
Yeah.
you with your studies? Composition and stuff like that. And
well, so this is actually kind of funny because the whole reason I went to grad school was because I was bad at orchestrating, and this is like but the thing is, but that's more because there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot that goes into orchestration. So once I sat down and studied it, I mean it was very easy. It's just I didn't have any information. I had no experience doing it. But then once I went to do it, it feels like everything that I do musically is very purpose driven. Like I've never done something and been like, is that what it's supposed to be? I'm always like, that's what it's supposed to be. Like,
Right.
cause there's this weird internal logic where I just no, like it has to be that way. That's the way it goes. It's not like, there's not like, oh, I wrote this music. I wonder if people will like it. I wonder if it's a good tune. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter if you like it or not, because that's exactly how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, right.
And like, that's how it goes.
That's why
the song.
That's why I've always had problems with, like if I start writing a song, like I can come up with a riff, but once I know something is a song, I usually don't want anyone to I can't have anyone else coming in and fucking with it. Like, I mean, I'm sure there are some players who could like play their part for it, but whenever it's been like a guitar player and I come with a song and it's not 100% finished, they immediately, anything they've ever tried, I'm like, no, that
could also just be that they're crappy, because like when I lived with Yngwie Mike, he would always be like adding parts that were like awesome and no one else like would. So
yeah, well, no, that's true. There are, and it depends. It's partially like I don't think you hear what I'm doing at all, so don't try to add to it until you get what's going on. Yeah. But at the same time, there is a certain amount of like I have certain like some stuff I'm like, well, this is an idea, but I haven't developed it far enough to like be attached to where it's going. But once I know where, like I have like basically like an outline in my mind of what the rest of the song is, and I just need to fill it in.
Right.
And so if anyone else is gonna come in, they're not gonna fill it in right, and so they need to get the fuck. Like when it's done, I'll give it to you and you can learn it or whatever. That's why, like I always, whenever I like have a band, I mean I've learned how to do it without coming off wrong, because like the way I explain it is like. Like we can collaborate on stuff, but sometimes I'm gonna write a song and I'm just gonna write a song and I know how it's supposed to sound.
Yeah.
So don't like it. If you can handle that, like that's like, is that okay? Or are you going to be weird about that is the thing. And like some people, you know, they're like, I gotta, like in certain cases, it might even be like, this is the bass line, you know, like, cause that's the bass line that works. So could you play that one?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And some people are just like, I gotta put my stank on it. I gotta put my signature, you know, I gotta
make it my own.
Yeah. I gotta put my signature of playing the rhythmic pulse completely wrong.
Playing all the notes.
Right.
I must play all the notes.
I'm interested because I don't have that kind of, it's weird. I sometimes think of timbre in color because it's the color, it's musical color.
I mean,
sound
color,
is
that's
literally
right.
what that is.
But it's not. But I'm not consistent. And I have certain ones that seem a little more consistent. But then, like if you suddenly were like, "Quick, what color is this?" I would be like, well, you know, I'd have to think about it.
Right.
So it's more of an abstraction that I'm creating. It's not
exactly.
Yeah.
The answer. It's weird.
Yeah.
My brain is weird.
Yeah.
But that was the study, and it was pretty
But it's also interesting because I was talking about reference systems, and I think I have a primarily visual reference system, even though I'm into music.
Yeah, so what do you mean by that?
Reference system is a thing that I don't know. It may not be a proven thing. It may because it's part of the neurolinguistic programming stuff, which is sort of like in many cases rejected by mainstream science because a lot of it cannot be empirically proven, right?
Right.
But some of it seems to be effective and makes sense. So it's modeling how people think and stuff. And so part of that is that people seem to have one sense that is their primary, like if you're in your mind, when you think of things, you immediately jump to sound or images, or in some cases kinesthetic, although that's less common. So when I was reading about this, I was like, well, what's mine? You know, I'm into music, it must be, but it's not. It's not auditory. It's very visual. And like I said, when I say I have like an outline of a song, like sometimes it's like an abstract visual image of where I want it to go. It wouldn't make sense if I tried, you know what I mean? Like if I tried to like draw, like it wouldn't, it doesn't translate, but it's part of like just the way I abstractly keep track of like I have an idea for a song and I have like the shape of it basically.
Okay.
Right. In terms of dynamics and everything, whatever. And like, and my thing is that while it hasn't always been fully intentional, that's what I've always been shooting for. This is what Rich is talking about. My whole thing has always been, I want to know why I'm doing everything I'm doing. So I'm going to learn more about it. So I'm not just like shooting in the dark. And then, because I want to write things that I have a specific, like it's about a specific thing. Right. And so I want to start from that, which is, that's what I'm trying to do now is every project I have in mind is like start from this bigger idea. And then you kind of fill in the blanks and it goes from like a really general thing to more specific until you're actually writing music eventually. Like like my yacht opera based on the Scientology slave yacht.
Wow. That's.
Have you talked about that one before?
Quite interesting.
I don't know. I think I've talked about it on the podcast.
We talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
No, because
which episode that was?
Because the thing, then I always bring up the fact that like there is actually a bunch of Scientology music. If there's This Exists episode on the music of Scientology, right? Yeah. I strongly recommend A, that people watch that episode, B, that you subscribe to This Exists. Yeah. Because the dude is cool and he's also metal and he like he just, most of the episodes are actually about weird music. Like,
interesting.
Yeah. Well, like L. Ron Hubbard, like started a jazz group, like within Scientology.
Is that where that isn't where you discovered the Magic the Gathering rap?
No,
that was some other thing. Yeah.
I found that on the internet 4 years ago, and no, I kept it under wraps because I was so afraid of the Rebecca Black effect. Because I was like, this is so absurd it could go viral, but they're not a like thing anymore. Yeah. So like, no, I knew this guy. Or I do know this guy, and for years. So first of all, he's this big black dude who listens to mostly metal, but like also like random like crappy garage rock, whatever. He would post Rebecca Black's Friday every Friday for years.
No.
Like and we were just like,
no,
dude, what are you doing? He finally stopped. I don't know what the tipping point was.
Somebody took him aside.
Said, hey, we gotta have a talk.
Or maybe he noticed that everybody was blocking his feed.
Maybe so.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on iTunes or yourmusicisbad.com. Follow me on Twitter at @TheOneTrueMatt and at YMIB Podcast. We're also on Facebook as YMIB Podcast, or if you just search for Your Music Is Bad, like us on Facebook. Leave us comments if you have any questions or things you'd like us to talk about. Hit us up on Facebook or Twitter with that. Don't use hate mail at yourmusicisbad.com. I'm pretty sure it's not working right now.